Hello and welcome. I am recording this very, very late. It has been a long weekend and it's going to be a short update because I'm just turning right around to do the next one pretty soon. So the next episode should be a little more interesting. But meanwhile, let's get right into this one. As I mentioned, it'll be on the short side. Okay, so I am recording this on Thursday, already 3 days late, and it's probably gonna go live Friday realistically because it's 10:40 or so. I wanted to do a short update with a kind of a bleak reference to something that kind of personal happened. Basically, I was supposed to have 4 gigs this past weekend. That ended up being 3, and I'll talk about why that was shortly. Of note, one of them was a place called Catch, which is a new venue in Half Moon Bay that was really, really cool. So that's another good gig that I'm pretty excited about. That went really well, and I'll be playing again there in May. I also, because I'm filming this so late, and part of the reason why I didn't just film this yesterday is my weekend effectively ended Wednesday morning rather. It was a long weekend. Again, I'll talk about it obliquely. But I had basically returned from Mr. Jones and Me to Castro Street in Mountain View, and then later that same evening I played at a loft, which is I had a turnaround time of 1 hour and 15 minutes to end one gig and start the next one, which was quite interesting. They were 10 minutes apart. I had to pack all my stuff, go in the car, get 10 minutes there, go in and set up again inside of an hour, and I pretty much was able to do that. I think I started technically, I was supposed to start at 8, I started at 8:05, and that was really only because they weren't quite ready for me yet. So that worked out really, really well, and financially, I'm already done with my goals for the week. This will be a very, very good week, probably. I have a couple gigs coming up on Friday, Freewheel, and on Sunday, I'll be playing at a Coastal Wildflower event, which is gonna be a lot of fun in Half Moon Bay. So, the one I want to focus on, I'm going to go right to the tip. Again, this is a short update this time. I'm calling it Be Vulnerable. And basically, the short version of what happened this past weekend was my mom was visiting with a mutual friend, Lorraine. Hello, if you're watching. And we'd planned for her to see a lot of different gigs. That's part of why I had 4 gigs over 3 days, because I really wanted to make sure there was music for her to enjoy. She came out kind of partially to catch me playing music, and Lorraine had never seen me in person before. So I had a bunch of gigs, but Saturday morning we had we'll just call it a bit of a medical scare, and so everyone's okay now, everyone's fine. Mom's actually home as I record this, and there was no lasting negative effect, but it was a little touch and go for a bit, and in particular, Saturday morning, I was at the emergency room trying to contact one venue that I was definitely gonna have to cancel for, and then try to figure out how to do my gigs on Saturday because I did want to do Catch. I really wanted to get that up and off the ground. It's a high quality gig. And it was it was obviously a very stressful weekend. Then on Sunday, we had some additional things. We found out Mom was gonna have to stay just for observation longer than expected, so she was gonna miss her flight, so we had to return the car on her behalf and empty her stuff out of the hotel, and just a lot of logistics. So when Sunday evening or late afternoon rolled around, I had a lot of I was wiped out. I was completely wiped out. Me and Lorraine both were actually. So I go into the chit chat, and that's the gig I'm gonna focus us on. And I just decided that, I obviously wasn't in the right kind of headspace for practicing that I would normally want to be. Normally I want to relax before I go into a gig, do all my vocal warm-ups, which I did get in mostly, warm up my body for playing guitar, all that kind of thing. Think about the gig. There's a prep and a process that I basically could not do. So I didn't know how, given how tired and overwrought I was, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I set up, and I talk to the audience and say, hi, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I'm very excited to be here because it has been a day and a half. And I say, this is my friend Lorraine visiting from Maine. And my mom was supposed to be here too, but she's gonna be, she's currently fine, but in the hospital. And it's been a couple of days. So I don't know what's going to come out of me right now. I don't know what's going to be, you know, how good a performance you're going to get. But I just want you to know that I'm excited to share whatever this is, and I hope we're able to enjoy each other's company here. And because it was true. And it depends on the setting, I think, whether that's the right thing to do. In fact, in most settings, I think that's the wrong thing to do. But in that setting, beg pardon, that's a place that I play that you know, I've decided it's the last unpaid gig venue I will play at. Like, that is the one that will linger when all the other ones have been retired, because I'm professional now. Because it's just so friendly, the vibe is unmatched, the people are so good there. And again, I was completely comfortable. I was not being paid for the event. It was Sunday afternoon. I didn't know what I was walking into, and I was perfectly happy to just go and play and be in the music and be in the moment and perform and enjoy performing. And people were there for it. They applauded. They were wonderful and warm and generous. And yeah, it was just a very, like, in that moment at that venue, and this again is not something I would do at most venues I play, but it felt good to be vulnerable, and people, I think, appreciated seeing, like, my humanity in that moment. My friend David, who has a podcast series that he does, he's currently in Bali, I think. I've seen him leaning into this in his podcast series, where he's very vulnerable with people. And I wanted to, you know, again, sparingly find a way to just, you know, I can't, there is a performance aspect to performing, which makes sense. Even though, you know, there's different kinds of performance. You know, you're putting on a persona, you're sparkling for the audience, you're trying to kind of just, even if you're feeling kind of down or tired. Actually, I was pretty wiped when I was doing a loft last night. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. In my body, I'm feeling tired, and I really would like to take a nap or get some food. But right here, right now, I'm going to perform for this audience. There's a little bit of emotional labor there, and it was nice to be able to take a little bit of that emotional labor load off and have a really good time. It was cathartic to be performing music for those folks. So with that, again, not an everyday thing, and, you know, luckily, most of the time, it's not really something you need to share in quite that way. But in that moment, I just wanted to be honest with the audience, and they were super receptive and welcoming. So with that, I'm going to be turning off this camera in a second, just wrap a couple things up. And I actually have a new computer. This is another thing that's part of why this is late. I need to figure out how to get my projects ported over from my other computer to my new one. And hopefully the actual editing process is going to be a lot more pleasant. We're going to find out in, 10 minutes or so. But I also have a couple gigs this weekend, and with the new computer, my hope is to actually put more videos on, like, Instagram and stuff like that. Also working on some new material, and I have a very interesting project for I'm working on with my friend Dan Arwady. It's kind of a project. I asked him if he wanted me to learn one of his songs, or if he would mind if I learned, rather. And I just did, so I'm going to see about rolling out a couple local musician songs in my cover set, because they're, in these cases, I think that they're lovely songs, and it's fun to challenge myself to be able to try different music and different styles, and maybe learn songwriting through the eyes of my friends and peers in the space. With that, I'm going to turn this off and yeah, do some editing, maybe get this up today, maybe tomorrow. But I hope you're doing really well. I'm going to have another video up in probably 3 days as you see this, because that'll be Monday again. And I should be on time for that. Pretty light weekend and a lot of filming time to do. So with that, I hope you're doing well. Everyone is doing well in my world right now. We got through it all, but it was, touch and go. It's just sometimes that's the way life is for you. So I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers.